If we live.
Yep, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Okay, greetings, champion parents, and welcome back to Mommy Talk. As always, we are here to share information and resources to inspire parental positive engagement. Okay, let's get ready. Y'all ready?
You ready?
Okay, so we're real, relatable, right on time. That's what we got to do.
Hey. And then you were supposed to do your shout out. Go ahead.
Who,
Say
me?
what you I'm talking about Calvin. What you just said. Shout out to all the who?
Oh, shout out to all the mommies that talk.
So we're real related, going right on time with Dr. Pert, Miss Lisa, and myself, Miss April. We're here today with our special guest, and we are discussing ways to support your child academically, socially, and emotionally during this very new and different school year. So welcome. No such thing as a perfect parent, so continue being a real one and support their efforts. This evening, I would like to personally welcome and introduce two very important people in my life who are also Norfolk State graduates.
Oh.
First and foremost, we got to announce it. That is the first and foremost important thing. But they're awesome educators in their own right, and they also impact children's lives positively. We have Calvin and May Nellum.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, we're excited.
Yeah, go ahead. Show me, May, how y'all raise the roof again.
Raise the roof.
All right. So I know there are a lot of parents out there who are being challenged right now with supporting their children academically because, we are living in a pandemic. And I would say I am one of those parents who are seeking how to find that balance with work and supporting my child with children who are virtually. So I'm excited that we have two esteemed educators on here that can provide some suggestions, recommendations, and tips for our parents out there. So first things first, what can parents do at home to support their child's academic learning?
Yeah. So the first thing is you want to have a plan, right? You want to have an academic plan. You want to have a plan, when you wake up in the morning, you have a plan, for the noon. Then you want to make sure at the end of that plan, you have like outcomes. So it's like, okay, I want my kid to get a B in this class. I want my kid to get an A in this class, or I want my kid to just be more, engaged, or just be more, something, just have some type of goal. And then you do it weekly. And then if you meet that goal, you celebrate, you give the affirmation. You're like, okay, this is what we did. Now let's do this again next week. And you just keep doing it till you develop that routine where that scholar now develops what we call intrinsic motivation, or what we call just being an independent thinker, independent learner, because that is super essential doing the virtual learning, because they have to be independent. You know what I'm saying? The internet is their tool, and they have to be able to have the confidence to go there and get the information. And so as parents, we have to foster that learning.
Yeah, and also to continue to support your child academically, it is so important, just like you would do if your child were in school regularly, to reach out to the school personnel that can help your children. So get to know all of your teachers, your child's teachers, as you would normally, right? And reach out to the school counselor. And if they receive social services, right? You would reach out to the social worker. You would reach out to the typical people that your student would come across. If they were in school regularly, get to know the administrators. When you have, a concern, you can reach out to them and tell them, hey, so I'm having a concern with my child in math class with this teacher, or anything, get to know the people that are a part of your child's life academically.
Yeah, great answers. This is the First time I heard it put in such a way that really makes sense, not to only have a plan, but to also focus on the outcome. I think that is really important. I like the fact that you put a positive spin on it, that you said it's important to celebrate your child's success so that you can motivate them intrinsically. I think that is very important. Sorry about that. That's not coke. That's not coke.
Disclaimer, just so you know, that's not what you think.
Lisa, you on mute.
It's not. Wait a minute.
We can't hear you, Lisa.
Hey, the water went down wrong. Hold on. So
Okay.
That's the nutrient to have to apologize for coughing now.
You know.
right. Okay, so I apologize for that, but and I like what you said too, May, that it's important to stay in contact with your child's teachers to find out their progress and to utilize the school's resources. I think that is very important because schools do provide resources for parents to use, but it's up to the parents to utilize those resources. So thank you all for that information. So the next question, how can parents effectively communicate with teachers?
So,
For example, and then because you know, a lot of times when you are on this virtual learning platform, while the students are trying to learn, you have some parents coming in saying, hey, by the way, I have a quick question. So, I mean, if you can give some parents out there some pointers on how to communicate with their teacher, whether their child is face-to-face or learning virtually.
okay, you want to talk about communicating with you as a teacher?
Yeah, so again, it kind of goes in like with a plan. You know, you always have to have some like order. So I understand that teachers has office hours, right? You know, that's the time for the teacher to be able to answer all your questions. But then when it's class time, that's the time for the teacher to build that relationship with that student. That's a sacred time. So understand that you have sacred times with the teacher and the student, and then you have sacred time with the parent and the teacher. But then that also comes with like building a relationship. So I think the pandemic really just kind of forced parents to not only build a relationship with the teacher more, but also build a relationship with their the way that their students learn and build a relationship with their students' education more. Because they kind of have to. You have no choice, you know? And so now you have the opportunity to really, really be full agentic with your students' education and, you know, really get the power from that. Can you repeat the question one more time so I'll make sure I answer it? Go ahead.
You're doing a fabulous job. How can parents effectively communicate with teachers?
Right. So again, so make sure that you communicate in office hours, texting, email, Zoom, email, texting, like do it like, you know, like get their number, you know, if they need to as much as possible, but make sure you understand boundaries. You understand that it's a pandemic. Understand that your urgency is, you know, like just understand your urgency. Everybody else has urgencies, you know, but just take your time and be respectful and understand space.
And you know what I want to
very
add? It is very good. And I just want to add, it really, and it's easier now actually for a lot more parents to get in contact with the schools and the educators because we're all online. And you can always go through your child's account and email or, you know, tag them, you know, through the team. So yeah, so you guys are giving really good advice. Thank you. Because Lord knows I can contact my teacher, my kids' teacher.
So do I, and I like what you said. The appropriate time to contact the teacher is during office hours. That's very important. I like that you said that. So for all of our parents out there, guardians, aunts, uncles, sisters, and brothers, please contact the teachers at an appropriate moment. And know that the teachers out there are practicing flexibility and patience. So on the flip side, we have to practice that flexibility and patience as well. I like the fact how you put it that, you know, there is a sense of urgency on everybody's part, but just know that everybody has a concern. And I think it's important that the teachers do respond to the families, but also I think it's important that everybody know that this is a new way of teaching and learning, so we all have to practice that flexibility and patience. So I really like that answer. And I really like the fact that you all are giving practical tips that families can actually use.
I'm happy you think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are very practical and very thorough. Yeah, and it
Mhm.
comes from the perspective, educator's perspective, and then you're also familiar from the parent perspective, what the expectations are. So definitely awesome.
Hmm. So here's another question. What can parents do when their child is struggling academically? Because I know if my baby bring me something I understand, be like, ask your teacher.
That's going on a lot these days. It is because a lot of parents are not familiar, especially with the new Common Core math. And I know, Calvin, you're a math teacher and you're a math expert. So, but a lot of parents don't have the necessary tools, for, the proficiency in math. So,
well, they're even just trying to navigate through the whole virtual system. So that's adding on another.
You tell me about it, because you have some teachers posting here, so it's kind of hard to navigate, because I find myself, I'm looking on this platform, I'm looking on a different platform, so
and then you got multiple children. If you got multiple children, then you're like, yeah.
It's a lot. So what can parents do when their child is struggling academically?
So struggling academically versus struggling with the technology, right? Those are kind of two separate things. And I think what a lot of parents are maybe realizing now is what their student may really be struggling with academically. Of course, the challenge comes in and trying to navigate, I don't know, whatever, like whether it be Power School for the first time, or Schoology, or Teams, or Zoom. That's a different type of, I guess a quicker fix, right? But when you have a child sitting in front of you who is struggling to write a sentence, that is when you have to become more vocal as a parent and advocate for your student, right? For your child. So that is when knowing the key school personnel at the school becomes very important. That's when okay, so my child is struggling in math or in science or English or math or whatever it may be, right? So understanding that, going over with your child exactly where, like, what is it about this topic or the subject or this particular assignment that's really giving you a hard time, and then reaching out to the teacher first, and then as a kind of like a step to see if maybe it's something that the teacher can accommodate for your child. And then if it's something that may be bigger than that, then that's when you can kind of take it up the ladder, right? So you're like, okay, well, let me speak to the counselor or the administrator, because it may be something bigger than this one English class or lesson. You know what I mean? So knowing the importance of just kind of taking it up the ladder, and also just knowing the difference between, are they struggling with the class, or are they struggling with the fact that it's on like this weird platform that we're not familiar with, like just kind of distinguishing the two. Because I think what I've seen is that students and parents are kind of meshing both, when it's just that they may not understand how this platform works, as opposed to, they don't understand the lesson, right? There's two different things. And it's also very complicated now, because a lot of students that may be more hands-on and need that, that person standing in front of them teaching, it's harder for them to concentrate or to learn because of their learning style, right? It's become a little bit more of a challenge to differentiate for the learning style. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to touch on that.
I just want to add in real quick because I like what you're saying because you're saying a lot. But what's sticking out to me is that with parents, what you're saying is that parents need to understand what their issue. If they're having an issue, they need to first of all understand what issue so that they can go through the proper channels. But I also like because what I'm hearing is like some motivation for parents, because I know there's been times when parents may have come up to the schools and tried to reach out to certain people, and either they didn't get what they wanted at a certain level. And so, and maybe not all necessarily that they have to go higher up, but they could just be going in the wrong direction. So maybe it's not just a teacher, maybe it's another staff member or, so anyway, that it's kind of motivation, like just don't give up. If this doesn't work, there's always other channels that you can go through. That's motivation, especially for me when I like to call. I always like to check on my kids. Oh, you can't help me. That's okay. I know where else to go. Thank you.
Yeah. So I like that because let's keep it real, as you all say. I think now parents have a deeper appreciation for what teachers go through, and then also teacher expertise as well. Because there are a lot of teachers out there that are able to tap into the child's learning modalities and get them to that aha moment. I know how to do it. So we want to just raise the roof for the parents and the teachers out there. We know right now, everybody is going through it right now, but just keep your head up. And as May said, it is important to advocate for your child. But when you advocate for your child, you may feel frustrated, but there's a proper way to do it. I think it's best to write down all of your concerns so that you don't miss anything. And then you can either email the teacher or you can contact them during their office hours. And then again, I go back to that flexibility and patience.
Dr. Park, so what are the office hours? Is it from 9 to 5? Is it from 9 to 5?
No way.
No. Every teacher has an office hour, and it's also known as their prep time. And normally the teacher shares that time on their course syllabus that they share with the teachers, or like the schedule that they share. So that is considered office hours or prep hours. So yeah. So, and then I know it's a lot of parents out there, where you're struggling right now. But again, I just go back to that. This is a new way of learning. Don't take it out on your child, and don't take it out on your teachers. Just use appropriate communication, and then just wait for the answer, because I don't see a teacher penalizing any students out there because of a technical difficulty, or if the child is having a problem with the assignment and the parent advocates for that child, like, hey, my child is struggling in this area, we need some assistance. And then I also think it's important that parents also teach their children how to advocate as well when they're having some issue, like ask questions in class. So thanks for that advice. So how can parents support our children that receive special education services?
Yeah, so that really comes down to really like making sure that the teachers are providing the modifications and accommodations virtually, because you still have, even, we say we differentiate, even in person, I'm pretty sure, we weren't really differentiating like we should, especially in an inclusive environment. So imagine doing that effectively virtually. And so as a parent, you need to make sure like teachers are making sure that they are meeting your scholars' IEPs. And if they're not, that, right? And you're reporting that and ensuring that they do that.
Right. Yeah. It's so important as a parent of a student who receives special education services, or a student who falls under exceptional education, for them to know, the laws around that. So that way your child isn't shorthanded, and unfortunately that happens a lot, you know what I mean? Where people fall out of compliance, you know, and that's unfortunate because that's the education of a child that's being taken away or shorthanded. So you know, as you know, parents who are advocates for their child, for their students, need to know the laws around special education, and also what accommodations were agreed upon, like Calvin said, when you all sat down for the IEP, you know, last year or last month or whatever, right? Like this was the accommodations were, or you know, the recommendations were ABC, and also keep in touch with that child's resource teacher, if that's what your school does, right? So yes, making sure that everything on the IEP is being followed to a T.
Yeah, I know a parent, her child is struggling. He has IEP. He actually receives tutoring. So I don't know. I think it's offered through the school where he has a tutor. I think they meet there, and they actually offer to tutor them 101 to help them, you know, with the assignments. And I think that's a good, you know, tool and a good resource to have. Even though we're doing it virtually, sometimes those kids need somebody in person in front of them teaching them.
Right.
And just become an advocate as well too. You know, we have to understand that this is also like a class issue. You know, when we talk about the digital divide, you know, it's unfair that if you live in a certain area or if you have a certain income, you know, the chances of you having a laptop versus a cell phone, you know, it's not as high, and that shouldn't be right. You know, and then, you know, when we get into all virtual, now we have this dynamic where we have kids who don't got laptops and they, you know, in high school on their cell phones, and that's just what it is. But we knew that issue before the pandemic. And so we have to advocate. We have to understand that this issue was already here, and we have to advocate. We have to fight and do what's right for our kids, you know?
I totally 100% agree. And I also think it's important for families out there to form a partnership with the school and their child's teacher to understand the barriers and work with the school to help your child to succeed, because I think it's important that parents don't become adversarial. I think that it's really important to form that umbrella, that partnership. And I think a lot of people get it twisted, for lack of better words, special education. They tend to focus on what the child can't do as opposed to what they can do. And I just want to let everybody out there know that there are a lot of special needs children out there who have untapped potential, and we just have to find their skill set. Just because they don't know what Hamlet was talking about doesn't mean that, you know, they're not smart. And so I think it's important to focus on what a child can do as opposed to what they can't, and focus on their strengths so that we can strengthen those areas.
Right. And even, you know, when you perform an IEP, right? You know, everyone goes over the goals for the student, right, for that child. So make sure that, you know, as a parent, that you see your child being supported where, you know, so he or she can reach those goals, right? So if you're seeing that, then that requires, you know, if you're seeing that that's lacking, then that requires a conversation, you know, like, hey, so I noticed that my child is still struggling in this area, but the goal is that by the end of the semester, they earn a B or something, you know, whatever the goal is, right? So making sure that everyone holds each other accountable. Parents, teachers to parents, to children, you know, to the child and the student and everybody else, like everybody, it's like you said, it's an umbrella, right? And I know Calvin says all the time, it takes a village. So it's very important that we all hold each other accountable without it creating any type of like major conflict, right?
Yeah, and get through this thing together.
Right.
Come out stronger.
Yeah, I agree. Hear ye, hear ye. What does that mean?
Lisa always talks about the village too. Lisa always, you know, it is important that we have a village.
That's
I
funny.
can't help myself. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I apologize.
I
Good.
love you.
I think Christina missed her calling.
Okay.
Y'all want to join this team to put her on stage as a comedian? We got you.
So should students be involved in extracurricular activities?
No.
Why did you say no?
What does that mean? What do you mean extracurricular? Like virtual extracurricular, in-person extracurricular?
I mean, it could be both because I know I'm about to host some virtual extracurricular activities.
If it's so for example, we're doing robotics and we're doing it virtual. They just won't have any spectators, so it's as long as it's with social distancing, but things like football, no. Things like sports that involve like hand contact, that's just gonna have to wait, and then we're gonna have to figure out how we can have fun virtual, but that's a skill though, and that's exciting because this is a new opportunity. I remember I read a Facebook post and people were talking about like all the new opportunities that virtual just brings. We have to not say that we have to be open to that, we have to get those skills so we can explore and hopefully get those opportunities, and so I rather us learn new skills versus go back to the way it was and get hurt, and it's just we can be smart about it.
There's a lot of different opinions around that. So when you said extracurricular activities, I also thought about it in a way where it was safe. Like I wasn't thinking about like sports and things like that. I thought about more like, because with that extracurricular activities for a lot of kids is the way that they, it's their only opportunity to socialize, right? So there has to be a way to do that where it is safe for everybody involved, right? Including the teacher and the student or, the staff member that's heading that extracurricular activity, right? So, there may be clubs that meet virtually. There may be, I don't know, groups that do things where they social distance. I don't know. But I do think it's still important in one way or another to kind of implement some sort of socialization outside of the classroom. You know what I mean? Like it has to be something.
So this summer, my kids, we created like augmented reality apps, all virtual. And kids, they had to create an app.
You just showed yourself.
Yeah, this is the app, but I didn't show anything. I was just trying to do a gesture, but that wasn't. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we did that all virtual, and so kid, they made an app, they made a business plan, and now they got something interesting that they did virtual, and they was able to do it safe. So there's so many things you can do virtual, and if you just explore, you'll be surprised, and you'd be like, wow, like, dang, I didn't think the computer was that powerful, but it is.
Right, but I agree, you need to be do stuff virtually, but what about the socialization aspect? We need, some people are isolated, some people are in their homes isolated, some children feel isolated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know the libraries are starting to open back up, so that's a good thing. They can go there, for some type of interaction. Yeah, minimally, of course, but yeah, interaction with others is important.
Yeah.
Right.
All within the CDC guidelines, all within the CDC guidelines, Yeah. I'm all about science.
Yeah, I agree because I think right now we need to practice the social distancing and whatever socialization it is, it needs to be safe. Because we know right now the pandemic is very fluid. And so I just think, it's just really important for people to practice the CDC guidelines. And I do feel like it's important that students do engage in some type of extracurricular activity because we know that, as you talked about, Calvin, motivation. Sometimes those extracurricular activities, that's why students attend school, and that can be their motivating force for completing a class or things like that. But as you say, we got to practice safety measures before, that can happen.
And then for
So
some websites, can I get some websites out real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so for like engagement website virtually for teachers. So if you go to Miro, Miro, Miro is kind of like Google Docs, but it's like a big old board where you can, create these really cool classroom templates where you can get 50 kids all in one and you all on this one template. If you sign up for the education plan, you can get it free. So Miro,
Spell that website M-I.
RO, yeah, Miro.
Okay.
Miro. So check out Miro. Check out obviously Yardstick. Was it? Oh my gosh. Yardstick? Is it Yardstick, I think? Forget it. Check out Nearpod. So Nearpod is a really cool
The Nearpods or AirPods?
nope, Nearpod. So Near pod. So
Okay.
Nearpod is a interactive virtual PowerPoint presentation where you can create like virtual field trips and put it in a PowerPoint presentation for kids. It also allows you to see like kids respond to certain like prompt questions. So you can also like watch Zoom and also see who's on the actual presentation. So you can aggressively monitor and see like what kids are doing, what they're doing. Figma, Hoverlay, Google, YouTube, you know what I'm saying? But Miro, check out Miro. Miro, get the free education plan. Miro, check that out.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I was listening them in our comments in case somebody wants to get some information. So thanks for sharing those.
And also, there's a lot of virtual college fairs going on right now. Now, because October is college month. So just if there are any parents of any seniors that are listening, I believe all Michigan schools are they're waiving the application fee for October. So if you're trying to get your kid to, apply to college, this would be the time. And of course, the FAFSA opens up. So the NACAC virtual college fairs, that is available. So that's at, you can do virtualcollegefairs.org, and students can create a profile and just sign up for virtual college fairs through there, and they can talk to admissions officers and counselors from all different types of colleges. Also, just got a shout out to HBCUs. There is an HBCU Hub app where if the student downloads the app, they can have access to HBCU college advice for go live.
Cool.
So there'll be like a notification. It'll say like, "Oh, Norfolk State advisor is now live." So yeah, so it's a lot of different to get around.
Hang on for a second. Hang on. Do somebody need to mute their phone, their computer? Did you guys hear the echo?
Yeah, I did. And partly because of Norfolk, we were saying Norfolk State. We're so spectacular.
Oh Lord. What are you doing?
So yeah, there's a lot of different ways for the school year to continue and for students to continue to reach their goals virtually. So all the questions, because there's always someone that will give you an answer, and there's always somewhere that you can go for more information to further your child's success.
Nice.
Nice. Well, do you all want to share your followings for our viewers?
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. So check out the Teach Simple podcast. We focus on providing simple solutions in the classroom for educators and also for parents. Teach Simple podcast. It just sounds how it spells, how it sounds. And then also check out teachsimple313.com. That is pretty much going to be where I'm going to put a lot of my physics videos and YouTube videos and stuff for you to learn math and some other cool stuff. And go ahead, man.
Yes, and the Teach Simple podcast can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, Great, or Apple too. What is Apple Music?
That's what's your social? But
Mine, I don't. Okay.
You're trying to start off
Not on there anymore. Huh?
You was just trying to encourage them to join Teach Simple.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because my social, I took it all off my phone. I needed a break. So yes, Teach Simple podcast. Spotify, Apple Music.
Hopefully we can join you all one day. You just invite us.
I'd love to have you guys on. We can talk about this stuff really, because we haven't touched parental involvement and the importance of it. We haven't really.
Okay.
So
Cool.
that would be great if you guys can come on and tell us more from your your
Awesome.
expertise. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Well, we're definitely looking forward to hanging out with you guys. It's always a joy. I know before we went live, we had a barrel of laughs.
I always do.
Never ever a dull moment here. So I want to again thank Mr. and Mrs. Nellums for joining us. Just a wealth of knowledge. Every time I listen to you all, it's just amazing that so much wisdom comes from such youthful and beautiful people. Yeah, so thank you so much. And I have a quote I would love to share. The struggles along the way are only meant to shape you for your purpose. And that is from our beloved Chadwick Boseman, because we were talking about Wakanda forever. So rest in peace, my brother. Thank you so much, listeners, viewers, for tuning in with us. As always, we appreciate your support. Please continue to check out the website at www. I always wanted to be a rapper. Hold on. So www.mommietalk.com. Okay, I want to quit my day job. I'll keep my day job. But
I love it.
Please check out our website. Visit us on all social media platforms. And as always, we look forward to coming to you with some Mommy Talk fabulousness. Amen. Thank you. Tune in next time.
Thank you all so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.